Hey lovely, it's Yasmin from Tiny Time Big Results, and today I want to address the nagging thought that you probably have at least once a day. And if you're anything like me, this is something that really held me back for a really long time. So if you're in this space, whether you've been in business for 6 months or 6 years, then I want you to know that you're definitely not alone. But the nagging question that you probably have flying around in your head all the time is this: what's my niche? What's my niche? Oh my God. Yeah, the niche question, or if you're American, the niche. I'm going to call it a niche. So here's the thing, right? From my extensive experience of struggling with my niche and kind of feeling like I've come out of the other side, and knowing what works and what doesn't work, and kind of all the pitfalls that you can fall into when it comes to all things niche related, here's my take on it. The problem isn't that, it's your confusion. The problem is you're asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, what's my niche, and going, I don't know what my niche is, what's my niche? I want you to ask a better quality question. After all, Tony Robbins says if you ask rubbish questions, you'll get rubbish answers. If you want good quality answers, you ask good quality questions. So instead of asking yourself this question of like, what's my niche? I don't know what my niche is. Someone tell me my niche. Here's a really simple way to approach this. What's the problem you're solving? Now, this sounds really simplistic, but I want you just to take a moment to think about this. And the reality is I hear this a lot, where people are really struggling with their marketing message. And that's what essentially this is. We're trying to nail what it is that you do for people. But if you're still going, I don't know what my niche is, and you're kind of, flip-flopping from one group of people to another group of people, using all this lovely vague generic language or jargon that, people just don't get, then, you're just going to keep doing the loop. You're just going to go round and round and round and feel like you're getting nowhere, which obviously I don't want that for you. So instead of asking yourself that question, what's my niche? I want you to ask the question of like, what's the problem that I solved? Now, the problem is that you might see kind of some of the big names like Tony Robbins doing, health and wealth and, relationships, and it looks like they're doing everything. And, so you'll be forgiven for thinking that, I don't need to really like have a micro niche. I don't even need to have a niche within a niche. But the thing is, those people did not start out doing that. Like if you think of somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's, putting out great content and it's like loads of really inspirational stuff, but that's not what he started out doing. He started out with a wine library. Tony Robbins started out by, curing phobias. There are so many examples of people who are now look like as if they're kind of covering a really broad range of topics. They didn't start out with that. And the reason why this is so important is because if you don't hone in on a specific problem, then you're never going to build traction and momentum. Amy Porterfield is another example. I really admire Amy, a huge respect for what she has created and achieved. She started out, doing social media in Facebook, so she spent a lot of time building up her audience and building up her business, but she was focused on one particular thing. I know she teaches on webinars, and she teaches on online courses and list building. So it feels like as if she's covering a lot. But actually, when you look at it, she's still kind of doing the basics really, really well. And that's the kind of the message that I really want to, emphasize to you today is I want you to pick something. I want you to pick a problem that you solve. And when you're doing this activity, when you're thinking about it, I want you just to promise yourself that for the next 6 months, this is what I'm going to focus on. Because ultimately in your business, you want paying clients and you want them coming consistently, not in dribs and drabs and, kind of riding the old feast and famine roller coaster. You want them to be here now, okay? And you want that steady flow of leads coming into your pipeline, and, having sales calls, sales conversations, and, signing new clients. But if you're kind of going all over the place and I do a bit of this and do a bit of this, it's not going to happen. And that's why I really emphasize this question of what's the problem that you're solving? And when you look at that question, think of all the experience and the knowledge and the expertise that you have. And I want you to look at that and not get caught up on thinking, well, I can do all of these things for all of these people. Instead, ask yourself this question, like, what is it that I'm really good at that other people, would love to know more about how to do that? And, really hone in on that, because the challenge is that you're probably all over the place and kind of thinking, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. But when you're trying to build that momentum and attracting consistent clients and cash, if you focus in on what you're really good at, and think about what people ask you for help for, like, what is it? Oh, yeah, oh, John, you're so good at, speaking in public. Can you show me what that looks like? Or can you show me how you do that? Or I love how you crocheted that quilt. Can you show me how you did that? Like, there are so many options out there. There are so many things that people are saying to you on a consistent basis that you're not listening and that you're not actually hearing. And that's why it can be really hard to build traction in a business, because you're kind of flip-flopping. And I did this too. So, you flip-flop, 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 and then you go, oh, I'm confused, I don't have clarity. And yeah, I've been there too. So here's the thing, okay? I want you to answer this question. What's the problem that you solve, and for whom? And when you're not sure about whom, you might have an idea as to who your ideal client is. But here's a really nifty little trick that I want you to think about. Yes, your work would benefit lots of people. Who could you get a result for really fast? That's a really powerful question, because the more you can identify and get to those people, they're the ones who are going to rave about you, refer you, and help you to build your business. But if it's a bit like going to someone and say, I want to help you, practice more self-love. And somebody's like, what are you talking about? Are you serious? Oh my God, get out of my face, right? As an example. And then you talk to a group of people who maybe they're, moms of 1-year-olds, and they're exhausted, and they're like, oh God, I just really need some time for myself. I've lost myself. And, and you talk to them about the need for self-love and the need for self-connection, and they're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, don't try and preach to people who cannot hear your message or will not hear your message. Look at the people who actually are looking for what you have to offer, and then go and serve that market. Honestly, if you're trying to build traction and momentum in your business and you are struggling with that, get really clear on the problem that you solve, and then get really clear on the people that you can help, and pick that group of people that you can get a really quick result for. This will transform your business. These two questions really will. And then here's the big test. I want you to describe the problem that you solve using words that a 9-year-old would understand. No jargon, no fluffy language, no generic blah, blah, blah. I want you to be able to explain it really easily so that a 9-year-old could listen to you and say, oh, I get that completely. Okay, might take a few tweaks, but this is a really good exercise to help you see if actually the language that you're using is really mirroring the language of your ideal client or not. And actually keeping it really nice and simple and clear is a great litmus test, because if somebody just gets it, then they get it. And they may not be the right person for you, but I bet you they know somebody who is the right person for you. They might mention your name in a conversation. That's what you want, and that's what builds your business. So instead of asking yourself this question of like, what's my niche? I don't know what my niche, and having a big hissy fit and getting all tied up into knots about this, just ask yourself this question. What's the problem am I solving? Who can I get a result for fast with this, and make that your target market? And then, can you describe the problem that you solve and how you solve it? Don't go into all the process and everything, but just, how you solve it in words that a 9-year-old would understand. And I think this is really crucial, because until you get this clear, it doesn't matter how much how much Facebook advertising that you do, how much marketing or blogging or podcasting or Instagramming or Pinteresting or pinning or whatever you do, it doesn't matter, because it's all just going out there and just landing where it shouldn't do, and it's not getting heard. And if your marketing is not getting heard, you know that it's not getting heard because of the lack of clients coming in. Okay, so that's my challenge for you today. Okay, what's the problem you solve? Who do you solve it for? And think of the group of people that you could get a result for quickly. Okay, and then just ask yourself, you know, can I describe this problem in words that a 9-year-old would understand? Don't worry too much about the solution part, but just ask yourself, can I describe this problem in words that a 9-year-old would get? I'd love, love, love to hear your kind of what you come up with. So if you're feeling brave, do put them in the comments box. I'd love to hear it. Or if you're not feeling so brave but you wouldn't mind letting me have a look at it, then you can definitely email me at support@yasminvarji.com. I read all my emails, so you know, I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that's been useful for you today, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Bye.